Now, there are loads of words and bits of jargon which get thrown around as part of healthcare marketing. And you'll have come across loads of them and probably just ignored them because you're too busy running your practices. But one of the words which gets used quite a lot is the term avatar. And some of you will hear that and go, well, what the hell's an avatar? Now, some of you will be going, I know, it's that film with the blue creatures done by that famous director. And kind of technically you're right in some ways. I first came across avatars as a gamer years and years and years ago. And what an avatar basically describes is it describes the on-screen, the computer-based character which you play. And in basic terms, an avatar is a physical embodiment of a character or an idea. And in healthcare marketing, we use them in a particular way. So if you market your services to everyone, you're actually marketing to no one. And that was a famous phrase used by the great marketeer Seth Godin. It's really important that you know who you're pitching your services to, and that might be driven by a number of things. It might be driven by the market you're in, it might be driven by the location you're in, or it might be driven by the kind of patients you want to see, or it might be driven by the speciality that you have. But in reality, it's probably a combination of all of those things. What that means is that you have to be very focused on the people you want to see in your clinic. That's where the avatar comes in. So it's massively important that you know who you're pitching your clinical services to. And there's lots of things which can influence that. You know, your basic training, the things you love to treat, the area you work in, the type of clinic you've got, the other people who work in your practice. There's so many things which will influence that decision of what that avatar looks like. But if you take all that into account and you decide who you want to treat and who you want to market to, you can then begin to create that avatar, that persona that you want to attract. And there's a number of things which you want to consider as part of that process. So traditionally, we'd probably just focus on things like gender and age, but there's so much more which you can look at. Gender and age is very important. That's the demographic type stuff. But then we want to start to look at the psychographic stuff as well, and the social stuff. So psychographics being, you know, what do they love? What do they hate? What really makes them happy and excited? What are their fears? What are their worries? And the social things are things like, you know, what do they do for a living? What is the family situation like? Do they have children? Do they not have children? What kind of car do they like to drive? What sort of holidays do they like to take? And probably when it comes to the kind of physical treatments which we give, what do they do for activity and sport? So when you take all of that into account, you can see how your avatar is going to be much more fleshed out, much more complete. And it gives you a real anchor to focus your marketing on. And one of the things I always do with my avatars when I create them is I give them a name, because it makes it much more personal. And then when you start to create all of your marketing material, you can direct it to that person, knowing full well that you understand who they are, what they worry about, what they aspire to, what they want to get from any kind of healthcare treatment. And you can work to provide that and then tell people how you provide it. So avatars are massively important as part of your healthcare marketing. Knowing who you are focused on treating and seeing and who you love to see and treat is really crucial to the success of your business. If you focus on treating everyone and marketing to everyone, it confuses the message that you're putting out there. So have a go, see how you get on with your avatars. As always, give me a shout if you've got any questions, and I'll see you later.